Hey guys, welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today we are over in Willowcreek and I am building a small single-story family home on this 30 by 20 lot, and you can see the specific lot in the top left-hand corner. This is the usual lot that I build on here in Willowcreek. I love the corner lots. What can I say? I just love to build on this specific one. The lighting is perfect. We have the corner lot. It's got the sidewalk in the front and the sidewalk on the side, and it has that like canal on the right hand side with a little bit of water right in the back too. It's just such a gorgeous lot. I absolutely love it. The house that originally comes on this lot is absolutely horrendous though. I really want to try to renovate that house without making it look too different. But I have yet to try that out yet, but that definitely is something that is on my radar. I think it would be pretty fun, and I'm kind of curious on how I could get that house to look better. There's gotta be a way. But as for our build for today, I really wanted to do a single story house. I've been on a kick lately as far as single story houses go. I've had a lot of fun building them the last couple of weeks. But I wanted this one to be a little bit different. I didn't want to keep doing the same old thing, and so I figured, why not change it up a little bit and make use of the platforms. I seen this picture on Pinterest. That is where I get a lot of my inspiration pictures from, and I usually base it off the front of the house and then I just wing the rest of the house. Like, I just come up with the backyard and the inside of what I imagine it would look like, but as long as I can get that front done, then I'm pretty much good to go. And I seen a picture on Pinterest of a house that had like a double staircase leading up to it. I've seen a lot of these houses up in Tennessee when I used to live there. There's something about the different level terrain that just made these houses possible, I guess. I don't know what it is. We don't see this a lot in Florida. The area that I live in now, I see some houses with different level terrain. Like my backyard has some different level terrain. It doesn't have like brick surrounding the terrain like this lot, but I do see other houses that are kind of similar, not exactly in the front like this, but they might have like some brick surrounding a higher terrain with a tree, and then like on the lower end of it is just like the grass and it kind of goes downhill. Kind of hard to explain, but you might know what I'm talking about. But in Tennessee, I've seen houses exactly like this one, where it had like brick around the entire front area of the property, and it had stairs kind of built into the brick, and it's like you go up those stairs and it's flat levels on both sides of the sidewalk, but yet it's a different level terrain than the sidewalk in the front. I don't know exactly, to be honest, but I've seen the picture, and I've seen pictures like this before on Pinterest, and I always think it's so cute, but I never know how I can achieve it in The Sims, right? So I decided to do some experimentation, and I kind of figured out a way to do it using the platforms. And obviously you cannot raise any sort of foundation if you're using the platforms. And so you just have to make sure the house is on the double tall or the triple tall. I think I ended up using the triple tall on this house, and maybe it's the double tall, to be quite honest. Oh no, okay, I just seen it's the double tall. So I ended up using the double tall in this house. And the taller you want the platforms to be in the front, like maybe the higher the staircase, then the higher wall you use. This would not work at all on the first wall height. So you definitely want to do the double or triple. And like I said, the higher the wall, the more platforms and stairs you can use, like the higher you can make it. And so you pretty much want to get a platform drawn on the entire lot from one corner to the next corner. And then you want to start building your house on top of that. And in order to make it look like there's like a foundation, so obviously the wallpaper that I'm using is like brick on the bottom and paneling on the top. And I feel like the way that I placed the windows kind of above the brick, it made it look like the brick is more like the foundation in a way. And then on the actual front and back porch, I made it go up a couple more levels, and then I went into the platform category and I chose the platform that had the white border at the top, and it just made it look even more like a foundation. So I felt like it looks like I'm using the typical foundation in the foundation catalog, but I didn't. I really just used the platform one. And so it really just makes it blend in like it's actually on level ground that's just shifted up using the terrain tool, but in fact it's really just on a bunch of platforms. And I really wanted to add a pool in this house, and you cannot add pools on top of platforms. And so in the backyard, I made it go down to like the ground level, and I had a couple stairs leading down to the pool area, and the pool area is in like this little like nook, which I think is absolutely adorable. And I have half walls surrounding it. Like I actually really love the way that this pool area turned out, and I have a lot of brick everywhere. I do end up changing the actual brick where the chairs are. I end up changing it to a different one that has just like a brick outline and like a gravel in the center. I felt like the one that I had before was just a little bit too much, but I definitely wanted the brick outline still and the brick detail just so it could match the brick wall. And so I thought this was such a good alternative, and those together just look so good. I think it looks so pretty. This whole area, the whole house looks good, but I'm specifically happy with the way that the outside of the house turned out. Like I was saying just a minute ago, I have been wanting to do a multi-level terrain build like this for so long, with like the brick wall surrounding the entire like property, but still have a yard at the top. And I just have not been able to figure out a way to do it this good. I've always tried to do it with the actual terrain tool and lift the terrain up a little bit, and then I would try to draw a wall around it, and it just didn't work because you cannot have the terrain right up against the wall. If you do that, you have to use just the foundation. Like it can go smoothly right up against a foundation, but not the wall, which drives me crazy. There's so many builds I have in my head that I want to do that involves the terrain going right up against the wall of the house, and you just cannot do that. I know you can use like rocks and landscaping to cover up the gap between the terrain and the wall, but it just never looks that good to me. So it's definitely sad that we cannot do that, but I was happy that I was able to figure out a way to do it with the platforms. Oh, and then the grass, if you're not aware, we do have a grass textured floor tile in the floor tile catalog, and it's in the outdoor section of the floor tile catalog. If I'm not mistaken, it's either the miscellaneous or the outdoor one. There's also like a garden soil one, which comes in handy for like garden beds that you want soil to be visible at the bottom. It's called bottom of basement, which is super interesting to me. Isn't the bottom of a basement like concrete typically, or brick or something? I don't think it's dirt, is it? Because it looks like dirt or soil. Definitely doesn't look like the bottom of a basement, but I do live in Florida. We don't have basements, and I've never had a house that had a basement, not even in Tennessee. And so I don't know. I only know what I see in movies. And I feel like they're usually like brick or something in movies. So let me know if you have a basement. Is the bottom of your basement dirt? Because I am curious. I feel like that just wouldn't be reliable, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. I just feel like it wouldn't last very good or long, you know? I feel like it's not as sturdy, if that makes sense, but who knows? All I know is I have always wanted a basement. And I've also always wanted like a bunker in my basement. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but you never know what can happen. And I feel like it would be a really good peace of mind knowing you have a private area to go if you ever need it. But I know those are also expensive. So that is on like my dream list though. Like if I had a dream home, I want a private bunker. But at this point in our build, I am taking a break from the outside. I am not done with the outside, obviously. I have a lot more landscaping and stuff to do, but I wanted to go ahead and get the inside done so I know what kind of Sims are living in this house. But before I talk about the inside, I do want to point out the fact that I put a tree on like a platform in the backyard. So I really wanted it to look like the ground was a little bit lower than the actual edge of the brick where the tree is. Because I wanted it to look like a garden bed. And usually the soil isn't all the way to the top, but I was not able to put a half wall around the curve. So that's kind of aggravating. Are you not allowed to have half wall tiles on a curve? Because I know you can have curved walls. And so I assumed you could have curved half walls too, but apparently not. Unless I just did it incorrectly, but I don't know how else you do it. Usually like with the fence, with the curved walls or the curved platforms, you can grab the fence and you use the tool. I forget what it's called, but it's the one that you can just press any part of the platform and it goes on that whole side. And so I grabbed that tool, but it wasn't working. So that was really unfortunate. So I ended up just having to do the whole platform the same level. And instead of using a half wall, I went ahead and grabbed that platform that looks like the foundation that I'm using on the porch, and I used it on the garden bed where the tree is too. And that's kind of what I was talking about, by the way, where it's all curved and there's a tree on it. That's what I was talking about earlier. Around my house here in Florida, that's the sort of thing we see a lot of. And I'm in like central Florida now. So I born and raised in Tampa, but I don't live in Tampa anymore. We recently moved to Citrus Springs, which is closer to Ocala, which is very central Florida. And it's actually kind of hilly out here. Like I was really surprised that we had so much unlevel terrain here, because if you've ever been to Tampa, it's close to the beach, and so it's flat, nothing but flat. And so I was really just awestruck that, I think that's a word, by the way. I was really surprised that there was so much uneven terrain here, and it's actually really interesting, and it adds a lot to the environment. I think it looks really nice. That's one thing that I missed about Tennessee. There's a few things that I miss, but the way that the community and the whole state really is designed with the uneven terrain, and there's like a store way up a hill up there, and then there could be a store next door that's like down the hill. It's kind of crazy, and you actually see that a lot here in Ocala-ish area, and so it's pretty interesting. I actually really like it. And so I see some of my neighbors, they have trees like that where it's like so uneven, but they wanted it to look nice, obviously, and so they designed it to where there's like a brick wall on the outskirt of it. Like it's really cool. So it's pretty much how I have it here, but obviously it's real life, so it's a little different. But close enough. I was happy with it. I really wanted to put a tree in the backyard, and I really wanted to use that bottom of the basement floor tile that I was talking about that really just looks like garden soil. And the best way I could do that with it looking good was by putting it up on the platform like that. I figured we have the rest of the yard up on a platform and it's pretty interesting. Why not add to it? But I am working on the kitchen now. We are actually almost done with the kitchen, and the design of this kitchen I absolutely love. The huge island in the center of it, and it's like super functional with the layout of it. It's like in a circle. You can go to the fridge, head to the sink, there's the oven, and there's all types of different like clutter pieces and decorations on the countertops, and then your Sims will use the actual island to be able to cook on. So I've been doing this a lot lately where I put a lot of clutter items on the countertops against the walls, and then the island, I tend to put like one piece of decoration on there, and other than that, I leave it blank. I just feel like that's super realistic, and I think it looks a lot better that way, so there's not too much clutter on the island. Then it just looks kind of messy at that point. And it also ensures that there's some counter that your Sims can use to be able to prepare a dish, because there's nothing worse than downloading a build off the gallery and going to make that first meal in your house and your Sim acts like there's no counter available. Or even worse, they go upstairs to the bathroom and prepare their dinner on the bathroom sink. And that is absolutely atrocious. Right there next to the toilet. That is just a huge no-go. And so I just love knowing that there's at least one counter available for your Sims to use. In the kitchen, preferably. So I have the kitchen clutter kit installed in my game right now. I had to get it back in there because I missed it when it was gone. I love that kit. That is like probably my favorite kit. And I just love the fridge that comes in that kit. And I ended up using this swatch that has like a bright Chester flag on there. I figured the teen in the house is just about to go off to college, and they're a huge painter, and they're really hoping to get accepted on like a distinguished degree for painting or art at Brightchester, and they're like waiting on the news, and they got that flag in the mail, and their parents are so proud, and they just hung it up on the fridge. I just thought that was like a cute little touch and cute little storyline. I have been slacking on the storylines lately. I've just been, I don't know, kind of lazy in that aspect, but I did think of that as I was building, and I thought it was super adorable, so I wanted to share it with you guys. But I'm working on the master bathroom now. We're just about done though. And I just want to point out the fact that I think the way that I did the shower in this one is so adorable. Obviously, I've done this before several times where I have like I have a double shower head, and then I have like a platform down into a shower, so it gives it a little bit of a dimension. Ever since I moved to my new house, my shower is like that, where it kind of goes a step down literally in the shower. And I love that. Like, it keeps the water in there, kind of, unless my shower curtain is outside of it. But for the most part, it keeps the water inside of the shower. And it's so nice and roomy. I don't have a double shower head. I looked at a house that did, but ultimately I like this house better. But that was one thing I did like about a previous house that I looked at. And so ever since I seen that and I realized it was a thing, I was like, oh, I'm gonna start doing that in The Sims. Do you ever see that or do that? Like, you see something in real life and you're like, I'm gonna do that in The Sims. I do that literally all the time. It's kind of fun though. But what I really like about this shower and this master bathroom is the shower curtain. So that is from Dine Out, if I'm not mistaken, or it's a base game one, but I want to say that might be a Dine Out curtain. But I love to use those really big, long curtains that typically would cover one of those big rectangular or big and square modern base game windows. I don't use those too often, so I never get to use those super big curtains. So I have been using them as shower curtains lately, and it's been so much fun to be able to customize showers with different curtains other than what you find in the shower slash tub category in the bathroom catalog. And so it's just fun to be able to customize it just that little bit more. And like I said, I think this is the first time I am using this Dine Out one. And that color is so pretty. I love this turquoise color. I'm using it in the bathroom, but I'm also using it here in the actual master bedroom. And I just think it is so pretty. It's one of my favorite colors. The only thing about using a curtain as like a shower curtain instead of a window curtain is that your sim is not actually gonna like open the shower curtain. So it's been such a long time since I have used the Parenthood shower tub combo and actually seen a sim go inside of it. Do they actually pull the shower curtain open? I can't remember. And I used to use that shower all the time, so it's actually really aggravating that I cannot remember. I want to say that they probably wouldn't, to be totally honest. Maybe it opens by itself, but all because your sim doesn't actually physically open the curtain is not a huge deal. Like, they'll still walk through it, so it's still functional. And when I do these showers, sometimes I'll actually leave it open in the center so it actually looks better and it looks more functional. But sometimes it's fine. It doesn't bother me. Hopefully it doesn't bother you guys. If it does, you can just delete the curtain. But I think it's super cute, especially that turquoise one I thought was so pretty. I had to use it. So in the master bedroom, I put a couple of skill building items in there. Well, really just one, I think. Well, we have the bed in there and they can woohoo. And I'm pretty sure that's tied down to the romance skill now. So that's technically one skill building item. And you can also have kids in there, so you can fill up the house. And I also put a little knitting box, and I figured one of the parents loves to knit. And then we have the bay window in the master bedroom, and so I really wanted to use that little like bay window chair from Cats and Dogs. I absolutely love that chair. I don't use it as often as I would like to because I don't always do bay windows, and sometimes I put other things in the bay windows, and so I just don't use it that often, but I love that one, especially the swatch that I'm using, and I also really love the pink swatch too. But that's pretty much all there is to note about the master bedroom. I'm now starting on the kids' rooms, and it's almost a split floor plan, but not exactly, because usually a split floor plan has like the master on one side and then all of the other rooms on the other side, and I couldn't fit all of the other rooms on one side. So there was an additional room on the other side where the master is that I had to put the infant's room there. I figured the infant's room made the most sense since, you know, the parents have to go there more often. It just made more sense that it would be next to their room. I know that's the biggest room other than the master, so you would think the oldest would be there, but you know what? We don't follow the rules sometimes, and I figured I could just do what I wanted, and I wanted to put the infant there. But I also wanted all the other kids over here because we have a Jack and Jill bathroom here. So we have the teen over there in that top left corner that's empty. That's where the teen's room is. And this room is for the two kids. So we have a bunk bed here. And I don't use this swatch for the bunk beds like ever. I actually didn't even know that this specific swatch existed. I knew this bed did, and I'm not a huge fan of it, or at least I didn't think I was, but I love this swatch. I think it's so nice looking. And I love how it has like a little like print on the front and back of it. And the actual wood color is super nice. It matches the flooring, and the bedspread itself is blue and green, or like blue and grayish. And I just like it. I think it looks so nice. I also really love how the bottom bunk has like a little storage area. As for the scale building items for the kids, we have a mental table in their room. And then I put a couple of violins so that they can also work on their creativity skill. So I usually tend to do like creativity tables, but they don't always fit. And I totally forgot that you can put violins, which does the exact same thing as a creativity table. The only thing is that you have to have the creativity table to be able to work on one of the kid aspirations. I think it was like creative prodigy, or I don't remember. It's the creativity one from base game. You have to have the creativity table for that. So that's the only like unfortunate part. But something tells me that those kids just really love playing outside, and so we have a modular playground outside. So I don't really think they're gonna work on any sort of creative skill other than playing the violins, but it's just not their favorite thing to do. The one that got the creative trait in the family is definitely the teenager. They not only like to paint and do a lot of different creative stuff, like play video games. I don't know if that's creative or not, but they do like to play video games, and they also like to play football and stuff. And so they like to do a bunch of different stuff, but their favorite thing, their passion, is definitely painting. And that's what they're trying to go to college for. So hopefully they get accepted into Brightchester. That is definitely the goal for them. So I usually like to add a computer in someone's room, at least one of the kids' rooms, and then one of like in the parents' room. But I don't have one in the parents' room, and we also don't have one in any of the kids' rooms. So I had to find somewhere to put one, and the only place I could find was right there in that hallway. And thank goodness we have these single tile computer desks in the game, or else I'd be kind of screwed. But I was in fact able to find a space to put this single tile desk, and it fit perfectly there in that little nook, and I thought it was super cute. And I love that one from City Living that has like the little top section on it with the books at the top. I think it is so adorable and super practical and kind of like realistic too. And so I plopped that there. That's just a computer that everybody in the house is gonna have to share, and they're fine. It's not a huge deal. If you need another computer, you can put a laptop at the dining table, and you can either leave it there, or maybe you can give it to mom or dad, or the teenager, one of the kids, and you can just put it in their inventory. Maybe everyone has one, whatever you want to do. Oh, I did put a tablet in the teens room. Not 100% sure what you can do on the tablet, but I figured at the very least they could play games on there, which could improve their fun need. And so at least there's that. But I'm sure you could do some sort of browsing on there. You might be able to order stuff. Probably a lot of what you can do at the computer, you can do on that tablet. And then we got the infants room done super, super quick. It's pretty similar to a lot of the other infants rooms that I do. And I have the crib in there. I have a couple of end tables next to the crib on each side with some lamps on it. And I used a platform just to create a little bit of dimension in the room. And then on the other side where the platform is, I put the changing table, and then I also put a dollhouse with some blocks. And oh, I also put a grabby mat in there where the crib is, like right next to the crib. And you could totally click and drag that over into the living room. There's plenty of space in the living room. I just really liked the way it looked in the infants room better for the time being, and I figured if you guys play in this house, you can just click and drag it to wherever you want it to be. You can even put it in someone's inventory technically. So yeah, we are now outside finishing up the rest of the yard, and I'm doing like a lot of the landscaping that I typically do. I don't know, this is just my go-to landscaping that I like a lot, and I'm doing a little bit something different. I'm using these little like palm frond bushes, and I haven't used those in a while, so it's nice to change it up a little bit. It's not my fault, guys. There's just not all of the landscaping in the game is that good, you know? And so I just do. I use what I like, and I tend to like the same things. But we have plenty of landscaping everywhere. In this little area right here, I ended up putting a modular playground-ish. It's really just the slide and then like a little bit of a staircase for the toddler to use, or the infant once it grows up to a toddler. And then I also put a monkey bar set for the kids. And so plenty of stuff to do for everybody in the house. We're not gonna have any terrain paint on this speed build because we're using platforms and fake grass, and you cannot paint on the fake grass. But I'm not mad about that. It actually saved me some time, and so I'm not complaining. It does look a little bit off. It looks a little bit different. It looks like it needs something, which that something would be terrain paint, because I feel like terrain paint really livens up a build. But you know what? Beggars cannot be choosers, and I was begging for a build like this as far as the different terrain level goes, and I did indeed accomplish it, so I'm happy. I like it, and I hope you guys do too. Of course, if you did enjoy this build in any way, please be sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already, and comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is. I hope you all have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Bye, guys!